going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on the podcast. This is NXT, right here on Off the Script. It is July 3rd, 2019, and what a great episode of NXT. Wasn't better than last week with that great steel cage match, but man, I love tournaments, and tonight we got another barn burner between Cameron Grimes and Isaiah the Swerve Scott. We're going to go over that right here on the podcast. Also, great main event with Roderick Strong and Tyler Breeze and Johnny Gargano. Where is he? Adam Cole is running over Johnny every single week. Seems to be absent, as this week Adam Cole's championship celebration tour rolls on into Cleveland and into Gargano's, the family-owned restaurant. And what a fucking tour it has been, man. He didn't even stop at the pizzeria. He didn't even stop there, man. He went to Johnny's wrestling school and told everybody that is training under Johnny Gargano, go home, eat pizza. You will never, ever make it in this business. One of the funniest things I've seen all year as far as anything to do with a build towards a storyline. That in itself was not meant to be taken in a humorous way, but I love how Adam Cole was presented there, and I love how much of a prick he is, that he doesn't give a shit about anybody. He's the champion, and that's all that matters, man. We'll go over all that. We'll play the clip for you because it's absolutely genius. It is just downright brilliant. We'll go over everything that happened on NXT tonight, including news and rumors, which we'll get to in a second, right here on the podcast. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206. That is both on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And if you guys want to join the channel, you guys can certainly do so as well. You guys get early access to the weekend's Off the Script podcast, which it will be another barn burner this weekend because I'm going to roast everybody as it pertains to Monday Night's Raw. Don't give me an outlet to speak. You might not think what you thought on Monday after I reveal everything about Monday Night Raw this coming Friday. Going to be another barn burner. You don't want to miss it. You guys can get early access if you do one of two things. One, you join the channel, or you become a patron on patreon.com/JD from NY206. Completely optional, guys. Both options. It is completely up to you. But with the Patreon page, you guys also get all the audio formats of Raw, SmackDown, and tonight's NXT podcast. So what's up to my Patreons out there? Make sure you guys do that. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out all the other videos that you might have missed this weekend. Is Vince McMahon bringing in Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff for real change, or is it just to take the heat off of him? That was Off the Script Part 2 on Saturday. Fyter Fest, the review, the official review, that was on Sunday. If this was Paul Heyman's first night, it should have been his last. Raw was abysmal on Monday nights. That's the podcast there. And Kofi Kingston giving Samoa Joe the middle finger. Dolph Ziggler in the main event again for another title shot opportunity, and I ask why. And if you guys missed the barn burner of a show on Friday, where we address Mr. Rollins, the champ, the man's man, you guys need to go check that out. Some people were saying it was the best opening to Off the Script that they've ever seen. Make sure you guys go check out all that stuff live on the channel. Links are in the annotation that you see in the top right corner. Do it. It's free. One, and there's plenty of content to keep you guys busy during your weeks. Thank you guys so very much for all of that. Let's hit the news, man. I got a lot of news. Actually, I don't have a lot of news, but I do have news, as I do every single week. We cover the NXT stuff right here on Wednesday. One of the more interesting things that I found out while I was doing some snooping around on social media and just looking at the various sources that I have, I came across this article and I came across this story. Is WWE bringing up more superstars from NXT to appeal to their younger fan base. I could see it being legit, but I have to ask, why? Why are you bringing more talent up from NXT that might not be ready for the sole reason of you trying to appeal to the younger audience? Now, WWE is trying to get their younger audience and the younger crowd to tune in to their shows, which it is and was very evident on Monday night. The big explosion, the big scene with Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley, that was done for a reason. And I mentioned this on Monday. Hey, you know, we're cool. We're still cool. You guys should watch us. We're going to be doing some cool shit. That's exactly why that happened. So please don't at me when I say things like that. That's legitimately the exact reason why that happened. Corey Graves blurting out, holy shit, when they went through the LED board. Hey guys, our commentators are cool too. We might not wear a mask like some other commentators. We might not wear a cowboy hat, but we're cool too. That's the reason why that was done. And I'm going to leak you some information here, folks. That was not a Paul Heyman directive. So, for the people who want to claim, oh, Paul Heyman's DNA was all over Monday Night Raw, that in itself was one of the main things that we all cited. Well, that's got to be a Paul Heyman situation. Nope. Revealed by Brian Alvarez today, it was a Vince McMahon thing. So where was Paul Heyman's DNA on Monday Night Raw? I wonder where it was. Nowhere to be found, folks. Nowhere to be found. Hey, we're cool. Our commentators are cool too, where they can now curse on live TV. This is why it was done. Now, WWE apparently is in competition with AEW. And I say apparently because everybody's making it a competition. I think AEW is more in competition with NXT. Same kind of audience, same kind of fan base. But WWE is clearly worried about AEW. They'll be on TNT the first Wednesday, it looks like, in October. And whether they want to admit it or not, AEW is pushing their shit in. They are worried about AEW. Now, we all know that AEW is the it thing. They're cool, they're hip, they're what's hot right now. Everybody wants to be, if you're a wrestler in AEW, everybody wants to talk about AEW. AEW is the hottest thing in the community. We're using it for views and clickbait, and we're using it for broadening our audience. WWE apparently is trying to be considered once again a cool wrestling company. And I could see why he would want to do that. I see why he wants to do it now with the emergence of AEW. I ask why this wasn't being done years ago, and why this is now being done because you got Mr. Rhodes knocking on your door. But WWE wants to once again be a cool wrestling company. For many years, people thought that WWE was a boring, uncool wrestling company. And when you look and watch WWE, they are uncool. There's nothing about WWE that makes them cool outside of what they're doing with NXT and NXT UK. Now, Dave Meltzer noted on The Observer, he was live with Brian Alvarez when they were discussing this, that WWE is likely going to call up younger wrestlers from NXT because they need younger superstars to appeal to a younger teenage fan base that they are really trying to secure. And he says this, and I quote, "No, they don't have many younger wrestlers on the main roster, but I would think that they'll probably start bringing some up because I think that they know that is their weak spot and they want to try and maximize their younger audience so that they don't think AEW is the only cool thing in town." I have a problem with this. You have young talent on the fucking roster, young talent that you're not using, and you are looking to other resources to try and fix the shit that you have started. The shit that you continued to let fester For years, now you're worried about your main roster not being cool. Rollins is young. But how young does Rollins look teaming with Becky Lynch? He's now the man's man. He don't look like a world champion to me. He doesn't. In fact, this entire storyline with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch is actually ruining not only Rollins, it's ruining Becky Lynch. They don't look legit. They don't look like champions. And at the end of the day, when people watch what they do, especially what they did on Monday, it's not cool. It's not cool. You got Ricochet. You could use him to appeal to the younger audience. AJ, he may be in his 40s, but AJ's cool. Oh, AJ always had that cool factor about him. What about Buddy Murphy? Buddy Murphy is young. Ali is young. Andrade is young. All these guys are cool in their own ways. Aleister Black is cool. One of the best entrances in the WWE. Bray Wyatt, if you really want to kind of zero in on that, depending on who you talk to, Bray Wyatt is cool. In pro wrestling lingo, Bray Wyatt is fucking cool with what he's doing. There are things, there are individuals, there are factors on WWE that are cool. They have people that are young that could appeal to the wider audience, but WWE is so micromanaged and WWE is so strict on what they need to do because of Vince McMahon that they don't feel natural. Everything from the production, everything from the way the commentary sounds, everything to how the matches are put together, everything just speaks to you as uncool. Bischoff put it best. WWE and their TV is too polished. It doesn't look rugged enough. It's not raw, per se. It's just too polished to a point where it doesn't even look real. Meanwhile, AEW is doing all of that in just a couple of shows. Do you see what AEW does when they do the backstage skits and they do the backstage promos? It looks real. It's filmed in a certain way where it looks organic. It's not a typical WWE production, but it doesn't need to be. In fact, I would tend to go with more of the raw, rugged, natural look that AEW does backstage. You could just watch Double or Nothing. You could watch Fyter Fest and see what I'm talking about. I like that type of style. Jason, Big Hodge, does that. And I love that style because it's fucking raw. It looks crisp, it's clean, and it looks rugged. It looks fucking organic. WWE doesn't know anything about that. They gotta have this big grand production and it comes off looking unnatural. And everything from that to the commentary where they're scripted to say shit that sounds completely, unnatural. It's not hip. It's not cool. Everything about these shows needs to change. And now here WWE is wanting to compete with AEW on yet another different level. They want to, provide the wrestling world and their audience that they're cool and they're hip so that these kids don't find AEW or don't defect to AEW thinking that they're cool and WWE is not. Yet WWE has the pieces in place, but they're so set in their ways that they refuse to change. And you're looking at NXT because, yes, NXT is cool. But that doesn't mean that you purge the roster because you need to fix what you fucked up for years. I don't want to hear anybody being called up for the simple fact of, oh, they're young. Oh, this one's going to be plugged into TV because he appeals to a younger audience. So what you're doing is two things. One, you're pulling people from NXT that might necessarily not be ready for that type of demotion or that type of call-up. They might not be ready for live TV in and out of the ring. And you're pretty much admitting defeat that you have to go back down into your NXT bank and try and gain a new face or a new character to appeal to a younger audience. I don't understand that. Why would you pull somebody out from NXT if they're not molded into what they're going to be? Why would you ever do that and set a limit or a bar for someone like that. Because if I'm one of those people that they pulled from NXT and merely is pulled because they want to appeal to a younger audience, you're simply being used for that one specific reason only, and they're putting a ceiling on you. I don't want to be a part of that. Why would anybody want to be a part of that? Didn't you hear reports of everybody in NXT or some of the members of the NXT locker room, which is unheard of, because they know what their fucking ultimate destination is, sentenced to life, a life of misery in front of Vince McMahon on the main roster. People want out. People don't want to be a part of the main roster because they know what their future holds. I don't agree with this whatsoever. WWE has all the pieces in place to make themselves cool. How could you be cool when you got a 74-year-old CEO booking and writing for a roster that is late to early 30s? That's the problem right there, folks. You got a 74-year-old senile fuck writing for a roster of 20 and 30-year-olds. How are you going to be cool if that is the case? NXT is not the answer. You've called up so many people as it is. Work with what you have. There is plenty on that roster where you can separate both shows and do what you need to do. I've said it 1,000 times. The roster that you have that you're not using right now could actually fill an entire other wrestling promotion. That's an issue. Use what you have instead of looking at pulling more from NXT because it's only going to result in more problems and more disgruntled fucking fans. You can be cool. Do what you need to do and don't worry about what AEW is doing. Chelsea Green. I love Chelsea Green. I can't wait for her to get back into action and join the NXT Women's division. Former Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion Chelsea Green returned to the ring, and she returned to in-ring action after being sidelined due to injury. Green made her return on Saturday night, this past Saturday, at the WWE NXT event in Venice, Florida, at the Venice Community Center, where she teamed with Deonna Purrazzo, another woman who I don't know why is not featured on NXT TV. I guess it's just a time and a place type of thing. They lost to Lacey Lane and Casey Catanzaro in a tag team match. She's been out of action after undergoing a surgery for a broken wrist in March. It was literally her first match in NXT, and she broke her wrist. She suffered the injury while working a dark match where she defeated Jessie Elaban at the NXT TV tapings on March 13th. Back in October, it was confirmed that Green had signed with the WWE. She had yet to make her NXT TV debut. Prior to her stint with WWE, she made her name in Impact Wrestling. She held the Knockouts Championship. She was actually also at the All In show in that Fatal 4-Way featuring Tessa Blanchard and Madison Rayne. That was great. She was one of the MVPs, one of my personal MVPs of the entire evening. She was one of my MVPs for the entirety of that All In show in Chicago last year. I can't wait till she gets back, man. She's very talented. She's very charismatic. And if they did what they did with her at that All In show on NXT, you guys are going to fall in love. Believe me, she is definitely something to look out for in that women's division, and I could see her being very successful when she returns to TV. Ryback. JD, why are you talking about Ryback or mentioning Ryback on an NXT podcast? Well, Ryback talked about the Velveteen Dream. And Ryback mentioned why he thinks the Velveteen Dream defended Vince McMahon over criticism from fans. I don't know why he's taking this so seriously. I'm not. I know Velveteen Dream thinks very highly of himself. Velveteen Dream wants to be on the main roster. He should be very careful what he wishes for. Believe me, Patrick Clark, if I had an opportunity to say one thing to you, be careful what you wish for. I know with the main roster comes more opportunity, comes the bigger paycheck, comes the aspirations of main eventing WrestleMania. I see Velveteen Dream having a very difficult time on the main roster. Now, that remains to be seen with the new head of creative in Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. I hope that really isn't the case when the time comes for Patrick Clark to be brought up to the main roster. But I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and the Velveteen Dream is someone who wants the spotlight on him. He will do whatever he has to do. He will say whatever he has to do to make sure that you are talking about the Velveteen Dream. I didn't really think too much about his comments about the main roster. He said something that before all these big moves that WWE made with Heyman and Bischoff, he said something that he knew would rattle the WWE fan base because we are so invested in this company and in this product getting better. So he went to the one place where we knew we were going to look at him and just think otherwise. He went into a place, a deep, dark place where he knew he could push our buttons, get us angry, and generate all that anger and interest to him. That's exactly what he did. Ryback says this. It was a recent episode of Conversations with the Big Guy. According to Ryback, he thinks this is a way that Dream can get attention and wants to get called up to the main roster. That much we know. That much we know. Clearly, Dream is doing this for attention. He's the North American champion. He wants to be the center of the show. Really. No matter if he's the North American champion, a tag team champion, or if he's no champion. Velveteen Dream wants to make sure that you know that he is NXT and that you experience the Velveteen Dream. Thus, he thinks Dream is trying to get respect, or the respect, of Vince McMahon. He says this, and I quote, "I actually heard Velveteen Dream has made a remark on the talents, and I get what he is doing. He desperately wants to get called up to the main roster and wants to get out of developmental." I'm going to stop right there. I do not consider NXT developmental. If you consider NXT developmental, then you are mental. NXT and what we see on weekly television on Wednesday is not developmental. I don't want to ever hear that come out of anybody's mouth. And if you do say that and you do refer to NXT with that terminology, you are a blatant fucking idiot. Okay? I don't see developmental putting on pay-per-view match of the year every single fucking takeover. That's not something that I would expect from a developmental. The main roster hasn't produced as many 5-star classics than NXT. In this 1 year alone, we've seen how many 5-star fucking classics? About 3 or 4? How many does WWE have? 0. 0. And if there is one, it escaped my mind because everything that they do is not memorable. It's not developmental. If Velveteen Dream was smart, he would want to stay in NXT because the type of character over the span of, I don't know, the last 30 years, a character like the Velveteen Dream has a ceiling. That ceiling is something that Vince McMahon sets forth himself. We all think that Velveteen Dream is a WWE champion, but is he in the eyes of Vince McMahon? The answer is no. The answer is no. Now, he better think that Paul Heyman, or he better hope, I should say, Paul Heyman thinks the world of him. Because I don't see Velveteen Dream doing anything, even though we all know that he is a future WWE champion. Can I see the Velveteen Dream main eventing WrestleMania? You better fucking believe it. But I know what awaits him ultimately on the main roster as long as Vince is still breathing. I mentioned it. The Grim Reaper has to come knock on Vince McMahon's door. You want the Velveteen Dream to succeed? Call the Grim Reaper. Have him on speed dial. That's the only way it's going to happen. He goes on to say, and I quote, "Oftentimes, guys will try to kiss Vince McMahon's ass to try to do that. It's just the way it is. Guys do it in the media. Vince is a genius and a wizard. They say these things because they want to get called up. They want to make big money, and they want to get out of developmental. This is the truth of the situation, or he is naive. He doesn't understand how it works yet. It's not the talent. The talent has always been there. If Velveteen Dream shows up to Raw and they go, 'Velveteen, you're going to go out on Superstars. We're not going to give you an entrance. You're not going to do any shit. You're going to put this guy over and you're not going to do anything cool. We don't want you showing off, and if you do, you're going to be pulled and we'll be sitting in catering for a year, and then we are going to fire you. You're not going to get over. So that will be a rude awakening if he doesn't know how the creative process works. He probably already does. I assume he's a smart guy. I feel like he does know, but he is just trying to get called up, which I commend. You gotta do what you gotta do to get called up, says Ryback. You can't really blame Ryback for saying what he said here. Ryback's a smart guy. Ryback knows what he's talking about. If you listen to the interview with Chris Van Vliet and Ryback, you would see how intelligent he is. He is a very well-spoken individual. But I agree with him here. It's going to be a rude awakening. If he continues to do this to try and get the attention of Vince McMahon, and we all know Vince McMahon doesn't watch NXT, nobody knows of what the Velveteen Dream is doing or the great matches that he's had with the Riddles and the Blacks and the Ciampas and the Garganos of the world. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what this guy's capable of. I don't get what the rush is on his end anyway. He's 23 years old. He's got the world by the balls. You could sit in NXT for another 2 years and wait to see if the landscape changes, which probably right now is the best bet for a Velveteen Dream. With the incoming changes, hopefully, coming to the main roster. Nobody wants to go up there now. If you want to go up there now, you're a fool. You're an absolute fool. Give it time. You're 23. You got a couple years left in you in NXT. Win an NXT championship. Get as much on your resume as you possibly can. You don't need Vince McMahon. Because we know what you are worth. You should as well. Do you want to end up like Ryback described? Sitting in catering. Doing nothing more than superstars. Jobbing out to somebody. And where's the Velveteen Dream character then? Where is it then? Where is the Dream's character when he can't come out and be the Velveteen Dream? Where is the Dream when he can't come out and express that charisma to everybody, looking at that grand entrance? Every month the pay-per-view goes by, and every month that shit's going to be eating you alive. Knowing that you wanted it so badly, it's going to end up being a rude awakening. Stay where you are. I cannot stress this enough. I'm sure he's smart, just like Ryback said, but the brain, there's a lot left to learn. Believe me, whether it's in the ring or something from the tutelage of Shawn Michaels, which he has right now. Everybody in NXT praises the Velveteen Dream. Shawn Michaels is working with him closely every single week. Triple H working with him, Matt Bloom, William Regal. Why would you want to walk away from that at such a young age to put yourself in a position to work with Vince McMahon? Who has Vince McMahon created on the main roster that everybody's dying to go up there? That's such a big superstar that's fucking a household name right now. Has anybody on the main roster transformed the shows into a ratings monster like it used to be? No. Everybody's an embarrassment. He hasn't created one superstar. Not one. NXT, you had Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose. There's been nobody outside of them that has been as successful as them on the main roster. You don't want to go up there. The odds are completely against you. Give it time. By that time, Vince will be 76, even more senile. He'll be more fucked up. But hopefully at that time, Paul Heyman and Vince McMahon would be completely out of the picture. Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff will have taken over these shows, and the ship will be on steady seas instead of fucking this. Ultimately sinking to the bottom of the fucking ocean. We don't want it. You don't deserve it. Shawn Michaels, before we get into the overall show tonight. Shawn Michaels is close with the Velveteen Dream. He's been working with Gargano and Ciampa. By the way, which I failed to mention, I met Ciampa on Saturday at the Evolve show. And he is one of the nicest guys you could possibly ever meet. One of the most humble guys. I had 15 seconds with him because, you know, with these things, it's like rush. You pay your money, you get a picture signed, you say whatever you got to say to them, and then 15 seconds they're fucking rushing you out for the next goon that's got to get their picture taken. But I'm there, and I'm like, whatever you know, as much time as I got, I got to say something, you know. He asked me for my name, shook his hand. He signed my name on the picture, which you can see. I think I have it right here. Hold on. This was the picture that I got. He signed it to me right there. And I told him, I just gotta say, I've been watching WWE for 30 years, and the shit that you did with Johnny was some of the best storytelling and some of the best matches that I've personally ever seen in the history of WWE. I can't wait for you to come back. In my eyes, everybody was praising Johnny. I was a part of that as well, but, you know, without you, none of that would have happened. And to me, in 2018, you were NXT. You are NXT, and I can't wait for you to come back. You know, it's like that. That's very high praise. I am very appreciative of that. I really appreciate the kind words, and that was pretty much it. Had about maybe 15, 20 seconds to get that all in. I enjoyed a great show. It was a good night. But Shawn Michaels has worked with Ciampa, worked with Gargano, worked with the Velveteen Dream. He actually has spoken up about another superstar in the Performance Center. During the interview, Shawn Michaels talked about which NXT superstar fans should look out for moving forward. This is where he names 3 stars. This is what he had to say. I quote, "They were formerly ACH and Trevor Lee. They look to be extremely talented young men." Michaels also said Shane Strickland, keep an eye on him. End quote. Does Michaels have an eye for talent? Absolutely. And if Michaels is molding them and teaching them, guiding them, filling them with what they need to know, NXT's future is going to be just fine on Wednesday nights. We're going to get into the show, guys. Before I do that, got to shout out my good friends over at Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. If you guys love getting free shit, then what you're going to do is sign up for Audible. All you have to do is use our unique link at the bottom of the page right there, audibletrial.com/offthescript. What you guys are going to do is the following. Download the app on iPhone or Android devices. Absolutely free. You're going to use our unique link right there. You're going to go through the billing cycle or the sign-up information. You're going to give them your information. You will not be charged whatsoever. You will not be charged whatsoever. They're going to give you 30 days free of their service and 1 free audiobook of your choice. Best part is, you got over 200,000 choices to choose from, so make it count. And if you guys don't like the service, if you guys want to sign up merely to support Off the Script and get something for free for doing so, you guys can cancel any time in that 30 days and still get to keep your audiobook for free. You will not be penalized for canceling your service. That audiobook is yours. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Gotta shout out my fine friends over at Audible. They've been supporting me for 3 years. I want you guys to go tell them that you heard about Audible right here on Off the Script. Monday Night Raw started. Oh shit, it's Wednesday. Oh my goodness, man, I almost made a huge mental error. I could have swore I was watching Monday Night Raw with the Iconics showing up to start Raw with the worthless women's tag team titles. How are you going to have Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne start NXT? Not really something I want to be a part of, folks. If I'm running a wrestling show, I'm not starting any show off with fucking Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne. I'm sorry, folks. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with WWE and these bougie, I can't fucking wrestle plastic surgery Barbie dolls. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Aaliyah with Vanessa Bourne, Bourne and Bougie, or if that's their name, I don't even know, versus Mia Yim. This one was academic. Yeah, Aaliyah, yeah, I don't know. Is she good in the ring? No, she's not. Does she know the basics? Maybe. But Mia Yim, even after the video package, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with Mia Yim. I want to like Mia Yim. I want to support Mia Yim. I want to be invested in Mia Yim. I can't do it. I don't know what it is. But apparently they're moving her on to the NXT Women's Championship. She beat Aaliyah here in easy fashion. Yim hits a cannonball senton. Multiple kicks, belly to belly overhead, release suplex. Aaliyah goes to the floor. Bourne goes over to check on Aaliyah. Yim hits a suicide dive, taking out both women. Back in the ring, Aaliyah tries for a crossbody, and Yim hits a fallaway slam after catching her, and then protect your neck for the 1, 2, 3. Go back to the Louis Vuitton shop in LA. Go buy yourself a nice designer bag. That's where you belong. You don't belong in the ring. Post-match, Vanessa Bourne was already taken out with the crossbody dive, or the suicide dive, and she gets thrown into the steel steps by Mia Yim because go fuck yourself. That's why. Heads over to the commentary booth. She's walking up the ramp. Now, I thought Shayna was going to come out and annihilate her. That's what I thought was going to happen. She was looking around. She didn't trust that Shayna was not going to come out. So she's looking over her shoulder. She's looking around. Then she goes over to Morrow and the commentary desk. I didn't understand the interaction here. She was speaking to Morrow as if Morrow was Shayna Baszler instead of looking into the fucking camera that was directly zoomed in on her face. She was yelling at Morrow to pass along the message to Shayna Baszler. But I guess Shayna Baszler might have been watching, so she might have heard everything that Mia Yim was about to say to her anyway. I don't know. She should have looked into the camera. Was she talking to Morrow, or was she talking to us? If Shayna was watching, your eyes should have been into the camera. That's all I'm going to say there. So, she goes over to the commentary. Yim says this is where Baszler likes to deliver her messages. But when Baszler does it, she's looking into the camera. She says she's not only coming for Baszler's title, she's coming to whoop that ass. There you go. Can't get any more simple than Mia Yim's message. Last week, we seen clips of the steel cage match, that great steel cage match. I still am wondering who produced that match. Great ending, great steel cage match. Little hokey if you guys are a fan of the old school method of steel cage matches, but you guys should know in modern WWE steel cage match, that doesn't keep anybody out. Hell in a Cell doesn't even keep anybody out, so you're expecting a steel cage without a roof to keep anybody out. So far, we haven't had anybody integrate themselves into the War Games match. Give it some years. It'll happen. We've seen some clips of that. Shirai turned on LeRae. Great shit. Can't wait to see what happens with Io and Candice LeRae. Kathy Kelly was backstage with William Regal. You know, the one GM that they didn't book the entire show around. You know, William Regal, the guy who is not going around calling himself the best in the world. We got an update on Candice LeRae, or he was about to give an update on Candice LeRae. Regal says that it's a week-to-week situation with LeRae. Then all of a sudden, those who are forgotten, the Forgotten Sons, burst into William Regal's office and they complain about tag teams making matches instead of Regal. Now, I didn't understand this because the Street Profits were gloated into a tag team match. They willingly put the titles on the line. The Forgotten Sons got what they wanted out of the situation. And then they got themselves disqualified. So who are you to go into the GM's office and ask for another title shot? So you know what William Regal does? If this was Monday Night Raw, oh yeah, don't worry. We'll give you not only a tag team match, but we'll give you a triple threat tag team match. 2 out of 3 falls. William Regal did something that I didn't think was possible in this company. Logic. He used logic. They demand a title shot. William Regal says, well, you had the opportunity and you got yourselves disqualified. Now you're in the back of the queue, he says. You're in the back of the line. So there you go. They walked out of the office. Jackson Riker says, this will not be forgotten. I wish I forget, or I wish I could forget Monday Night Raw on Monday. I wish it was that easy. But apparently they're not going to forget this moment with William Regal. They got themselves disqualified. Then Kathy Kelly asks, who's next in line for the Street Profits if it's not the Forgotten Sons? Regal says next week it will be Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Street Profits for the NXT Tag Team titles. I'm okay with that. I am perfectly fine with that. This is all leading to the Street Profits versus Undisputed Era, because Adam Cole makes a promise. Adam Cole is going to live up to that promise. Undisputed Era is going to have all the gold by the end of the year. I can absolutely see. And I'm making long-term booking here. I'm going out on a limb. I'm predicting this right now. I am going to go with Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, NXT champion. The Undisputed Era tag team as Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly as tag team champions. Going with Roderick Strong as the North American champion. And they're going to go into War Games to go up against the team of Walter and his guys. You're going to have a fucking barn burner between NXT and NXT UK inside War Games. That's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be Undisputed Era versus Imperium. That's exactly what it's going to be. Now, if I'm not right, fuck me. But I could definitely see that happening. Let me know what you guys think about that. I don't see the grizzled young veterans losing the tag team titles. I don't see Walter losing that fucking title this year. So why not? I think that would be great. War Games? There's no war going on here between anybody else but NXT and NXT UK. That's what they got to do. I would love that. Speaking of Adam Cole, I loved this last week. And I couldn't wait. This was the one thing on the entire show I was looking forward to most. They stopped it last week where Adam Cole got back to the United States from the Download Festival. And he was on the phone with Roddy. And he's like, did you put that order in for me? Good. Okay, the order's ready to be picked up. Adam Cole tells the limo driver, you got the address? There you go. Take me to where I need to go. In his hand, he had an envelope. We didn't know what was in the envelope. And they cut the scene last week when he was getting out of the limo. And he was walking into Gargano's. Now, this is Johnny Gargano's father. And the family's pizzeria. They stopped it there. I couldn't wait to see what he was going to do. Who was in there. What his intention was. Adam Cole this week walked into Gargano's family-owned restaurant, aptly named Gargano's. His father, Frank Gargano, behind the counter, and his mother were all there for this situation. I'm going to play you the context of this entire video. And just based off this, A, it's the best thing all week. B, Adam Cole's a beast. And C, I don't know why WWE doesn't do more of this on the main roster. This was absolutely brilliant. And it was unintentionally funny. It was funny because this is Adam Cole. This is Adam Cole. After that, he went into Johnny's school. He was talking to his students. And the pizzas that he ordered were for all of Johnny's students. Why? This is why. This is Adam Cole's visit to Johnny Gargano's family restaurant.
Roddy. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I just landed from Download. Hey, did you put that order in? Okay, great. You have the address and everything? We good?
This is exactly what we seen last week.
Okay.
Rolls the window down.
Yeah,
this is it.
Perfect.
Gargano's.
I'll be just a minute, okay?
Tells the limo driver to wait there. He'll be right out. He's got the envelope in his hand. He walks in.
Oh, wow. Frank Gargano. God, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Adam.
His father's expression was the best part. His mother's expression was actually the best part of this entire thing. Frank Gargano's expression was like, what the fuck are you doing here, man? It's like one of those things when you see me play Call of Duty. Are you fucking kidding me? Really now? One of those. Classic. Absolute classic.
For the pizza pickup, about 4 pizzas. Really? Yeah. Thank you very much. Hi.
He says hello to his mother. She ignores the shit out of him. So while they're in the back getting his pizzas.
By the way, these pizzas, they're for a bunch of really hungry wrestlers. You're gonna make a lot
So
of
Johnny's
people
father
happy.
has a wall of fame. Johnny, Candace on the wall. He puts a picture of himself wearing the NXT title.
Frank, perfect timing. Thank you so much. Keep the change. And again, it was a pleasure to meet you. Oh, and Frank, by the way, love the Wall of Fame you got over there.
Johnny's father walks over to the Wall of Fame, sees that Adam Cole pinned a picture of himself signed with the NXT title, and that was it. He drives off. So now he walks into Johnny's school.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt. I come here in peace. I even brought pizzas. You can set those over there, please. I was hoping to just get maybe a minute of your time, if that's okay. Now listen, I know that all you guys love and respect Johnny Gargano. And what's not to love, right? The hard work, his passion, his dedication, his sacrifice, his success. I know that Johnny recently came in here and talked to you guys. And he said that if you work hard enough that you too can succeed. He also told you guys that if you really work hard enough, you could even become NXT champion. I'm here to tell each and every one of you that Johnny Gargano is full of crap. Hey, wait, hear me out. Guys, facts are facts. Johnny Gargano got lucky, and anybody can get lucky once. I went back and I watched when Gargano showed up to this school, and it made me sad. I felt legitimate pity for each and every one of you. Because he came in here and he even let you guys hold the NXT championship. To give you some false sense of hope that maybe someday you could become the NXT champion. That's mean. That's cruel. I mean, really, look at you guys. Like Twan, seriously, do you think ever in a million years that you could become the NXT champion?
Yes, I can.
Don't kid yourself, man. Don't kid yourself. I brought these pizzas for a reason. So please, go home, take a pizza, sit on the couch, and just give up.
All right, man, I think they've heard enough.
Okay, I'm leaving. But just remember, because I know y'all are paying for wrestling training, here's some final free advice. Get out of this school, get out of this city, and it's time to find yourselves a new hero.
Who the fuck does that? Who does that? The guy that Johnny Gargano let hold the title was the same guy that Adam Cole mentioned. Twan, do you honestly think you could become the NXT champion? And he was like, yeah, I think I can. Don't fool yourself. Don't kid yourself. Quit. This was absolutely brilliant television. I absolutely loved it. This is the type of shit that we need to see. And I love how they're centering all this around Adam Cole and him finally achieving what he's always set out to do. And he's going on a championship celebration tour and he's putting down Johnny along the way. This is great. The last time we seen something like this on the main roster was when Samoa Joe went to AJ Styles' quote-unquote home when they were feuding around this same time last year. But they never really went anywhere with that. It didn't materialize into anything. We seen Samoa Joe knock on the door, but we didn't see him physically go in. Now, if he sat down on the couch and made himself at home while AJ was on the road in a different city, if Samoa Joe was there sitting at the dinner table and he invited himself over for dinner while the kids were sitting down and Wendy was sitting down having dinner, if Wendy was putting the kids to bed and Samoa Joe invited himself upstairs and read the kids the bedtime story, or a bedtime story, it would have been great. That's what they need to do. I haven't seen something like this since then. We need to see something like this more on the main roster. I love when they film and they're outside their fucking bubble backstage or in the ring or in the locker room. It's stupid. This was such a fresh take on a newly crowned champion. I absolutely love this, and it was unintentionally hilarious. Adam Cole putting down an overweight wrestler trying to train and better himself by telling him to go take a pizza, go home, and quit. That's fucking quality television right there. I loved it. This was absolutely brilliant stuff by NXT. Kushida went one-on-one with Scott Parker. This was just a random nobody here. Kushida wins here with the submission hold, hoverboard lock, and that was it. 1, 2, 3. Very simple stuff here. They're building Kushida up as someone who is undefeated, A, and B, someone who others want to test their skill against because he is so respected in that ring. Did it with Drew Gulak, and that's where they're going with this. I imagine who they're going to eventually put him up against at a takeover. I don't think he's going to be featured on this takeover. It's going to be the slow burn with Kushida. But it's interesting, and I can't wait to see who they start throwing at him as far as upper echelon type talent. Good stuff there. Tyler Breeze was asked what he thinks of the current roster, saying that they are the ones who made NXT, and that Breeze is back here and he doesn't belong. Breeze says he needs to give those people a refresher that his NXT was NX Breeze long before the Undisputed Era stepped foot into the promotion. So that was pretty much that. That's what he said before his match with Roddy. We had Killian Dain. He's coming to NXT. Another vignette with Killian Dain. It looked to be that he's watching old footage or old vignettes of the Eric Young and Alexander Wolf days of Sanity. And he's getting a do-over. He's getting a complete do-over. You know, he watched as everything around him just fucking crumbled and burned. This is a new start for Killian Dain. He's the one guy out of that group that had the most money in him to be successful. Hopefully Triple H can rectify what Vince killed with Sanity on the main roster. I think it can be done. My favorite part of the night, Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Cameron Grimes. This was fantastic. NXT Breakout Tournament match, round 1. Scott is previously Shane Strickland, and Cameron Grimes is Trevor Lee from his days in Impact. Crowd was very quiet. They woke up immediately once these guys got going. Grimes, he's got a great look. He looks very rugged. He looks tough. He looks legit. I like his look. Isaiah Swerve Scott, Ricochet got brought up to the main roster. This guy is going to be your new NXT version of Ricochet. The guy is fucking fantastic. The guy moved as smooth as silk. The guy did everything to perfection on NXT in his debut. I loved it. These guys work great together, and I can't wait to see more of them. This one went to Cameron Grimes via pinfall. I thought this was actually going to go to Scott. I honestly thought the Swerve was going to win this match. Scott dropped Grimes, big kick to the back of the head. Grimes was out to the floor. Scott with a huge plancha over the top rope, landed on his feet. Back in the ring, pulls him by the hair. He throws Grimes back in the ring. Knee strike on Grimes. Scott looked for a crossbody. But I never seen anything like this. A crossbody countered and reversed in midair. And he turned it into a midair crossbody splash on the way down. Grimes then went for a double foot stop because Scott didn't know what the hell hit him. And he gets the 1, 2, 3. He gets the 1, 2, 3. I was shocked by this outcome. I really was. I was going with Isaiah Scott here. Cameron Grimes wins. He advances via pinfall. These two guys are going to be money in NXT. The one thing that's definitely popped into my head, the one thing that I've been thinking about with this breakout tournament, yes, it's NXT's version of the King of the Ring. There is a lot of stakes in this thing. Winner gets a title shot of his choosing. NXT title, the North American title. This is an NXT Breakout Tournament. We're getting to see the new crop of NXT talent. This is great to get them and get them out there in front of that audience to let everybody know what these guys got. Like, there's not much that Shane Strickland needs being a 10-year veteran. There's not much fucking Cameron Grimes needs being a 10-year veteran, you know? But these guys don't need much seasoning. They need to be caught up on how WWE does things. But they don't need any time in the Performance Center. Maybe to hone their craft better. But these guys know what they're doing. Is Triple H's mentality here? and this is definitely up for debate, is Triple H's mentality with this NXT Breakout Tournament one in which he knows, because there's been reports, where he knows that there's an incoming purge of NXT talent, whether that's Shayna Baszler, whether that's the Undisputed Era, which I hope not, Velveteen Dream, maybe Matt Riddle. These are names that have been associated with rumors and call-ups to the main roster. It is Triple H getting himself ready for that. Now, I wouldn't call any of them up. I think Matt Riddle deserves an NXT title run. I think the Undisputed Era needs to be in NXT. Right now, especially, I don't think WWE is going to do anything right with Undisputed Era. For all we know, Vince will break up Undisputed Era and make Bobby Fish a fucking solo act. He'll put Kyle O'Reilly on SmackDown Live, put Fish on Monday Night Raw, Adam Cole, God forbid what they got planned for Adam Cole. They might put Adam Cole and Roderick Strong on 205 Live. We don't know what runs through these people's heads. I wouldn't call any of them up. Shayna, maybe. That's about it. But is Triple H thinking and knowing that there's a purge coming, and the reason why the NXT Breakout Tournament is now happening, is he getting these guys on TV, and is he getting these wrestlers on TV in front of a live audience because we need to know who they are and what they bring to the table now, instead of waiting when nobody knows who they are? He's ahead of the game. If these guys are on NXT TV already and we want to see more of them, then there's a purge. Vince pulls whoever he wants to pull from NXT. He's already got his next crop of talent already in place in front of a live audience, wanting to be seen by that live audience. It's a possibility. Maybe Triple H knows something that we don't know. I hope there's not a purge. I expect a call-up or two. I wouldn't call it a purge, or I wouldn't go about a purge. But this is WWE. They're going to do what they want. They still haven't even done what they needed to do with the last crop of talent. When you got EC3 in January debuting on the main roster, and he's nothing more than a weekend at Bernie's fucking cosplay on the main roster, I don't find that to be a successful endeavor. I don't call that to be a promotion. That is whatever is underneath a demotion. At this point, if I'm EC3, I'm hoping to get fired. Cameron Grimes wins via pinfall. This match was great. Go out of your way and watch it. This tournament's going to be fucking fantastic. Bianca Bel Air versus Priscilla Zuninga. This was a dominant... You talk about a fucking squash. This one was a squash of epic proportions, which I don't understand why this was such a lopsided squash, why Bianca Bel Air is even in a squash match. This one was academic. She hits the KOD. Cover 1, 2, 3. That was it. The best part of the match is when she picked up Zuninga, bench press, gorilla press, and she was doing squats. Yes, we know Bianca is fucking fantastic. We know what she is capable of. But WWE has bypassed Bianca Bel Air for whatever reason for Mia Yim. And I don't get it. She had her shot at Shayna, lost. She was going back and forth with Io. That was dropped. Io got the title shot instead. Bianca floundered around doing nothing. And then WWE went with Mia Yim versus Shayna Baszler at TakeOver, which is probably going to be the match, seeing where they're going with this. But where's Bianca Bel Air? It's like Bianca Bel Air has that hard reset done to her. But we know what she's capable of. Maybe this is just WWE keeping Bianca Bel Air in the mind and the eyes of the audience, so she doesn't sit back not doing anything because of how talented she is. I don't know what's going on here. They had her over. They had her on a beautiful momentum swing. Then they stopped it, only to do it all over again. Now, why is that? Maybe, and I hope that this is the case, maybe it's just a thing of timing. Maybe it was just not the time and the place for Bianca Bel Air to be at that level. And honestly, who can be at that level when you have Shayna Baszler being so dominant in what she's doing? That's where WWE's agenda is. Everything, all their cards are on Shayna Baszler. So maybe Bianca and everybody else really didn't fit into their plans, and they're kind of shuffling things around as to who is legitimately going to take the title off of Shayna Baszler. Maybe they didn't think Bianca was at that level yet. And maybe they're going with more of a Johnny Gargano-esque role in this thing. Maybe it's going to be Candice taking the title away from Shayna Baszler. I could definitely see that. In fact, I would hope for that to happen, because when Shayna is no longer champion, she's going to be called up to the main roster. Candice is going to be champion, from what I envision. This is the way I would go about it. Candice is going to be champion. She's got Mia Yim. She's got Io Shirai. She's got Bianca Belair. She's got a lot of different talent. Chelsea Green coming on up. She's got a lot of talent that she can go up against. And maybe what they are working towards is Candice versus a possible Bianca. I honestly think that with Bianca, the reason for this hard reset and the reason they took her out of all these storylines in favor of Mia Yim was because it wasn't the right place at the right time. I don't think Mia Yim is even that capable and legit. She's no more legit than Bianca Belair was against Shayna Baszler, so I don't understand why they went with Mia. I'm thinking it's just a timing thing, and they want that perfect opponent to end Shayna's run. I don't want Shayna to drop the title. I don't want Shayna to relinquish the title. She physically has to lose the title to someone. I don't think Bianca was that woman. So I'm thinking, and I'm just suggesting, that it's a timing thing. So we'll see what happens. Bianca, dominant, squash match. Unbelievable squash here against Priscilla Zuninga on NXT. Finally, guys, in the main event, Roderick Strong versus Tyler Breeze. This was a hard-hitting match. I thought this was great. In fact, I thought this was a better match for Tyler Breeze than the match against the Velveteen Dream. It was more my style. Tyler Breeze, hard-hitting against Roddy. Roddy is just so hard-hitting. He is so legit. He makes everybody just go that extra mile to fucking push themselves, you know? This was great. And coincidentally enough, I seen Roddy and Tyler Breeze on that same show, the Evolve show, where I met Ciampa. It was Tyler Breeze versus, I think it was AR Fox. And then Roddy went up against one of Evolve's bigger guys as well. I forgot his name. But they were both there. Coincidentally, they were both at the show, and here they are this week going one-on-one. This was great. There was a part of the match where Roddy, it looked like he tripped over the steel steps. Or he was maybe selling. He did a very good sell job. He came back and he back suplexed Tyler Breeze on the steel steps, which made me cringe. The sound of Tyler Breeze's spine against the steel steps, on the edge of the steel steps, made me legit wince in pain. That's how bad it was. Then he did a backbreaker on the barricade. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Back in the ring, Strong continued to stomp away on Breeze. Drop kick. Roddy has a absolutely picture-perfect drop kick. Went for a 2 count. 2 count only on the pin. Strong then stretched out Breeze with like a bow and arrow. He continued putting pressure on Breeze's back after those 2 devastating moves on the outside. Strong hits a jawbreaker, and then he gets some offense coming back his way from Tyler Breeze. Punch to the face. He sent Strong out to the floor. Strong comes right back in. Inseguri sends him right back out. Breeze with a leaping forearm off the apron. Obviously, the back was still an issue. So Strong did whatever he could to just attack the back. So Breeze, after all that, hits a backstabber. 2 count only. Strong then takes Breeze up to the top rope. They're going back and forth, punches back and forth. Huge superplex by Roderick Strong. Only a 2 count. Breeze then hits a double boot to Strong's chest. Breeze on the apron, kick to the head. Breeze slingshots in, gets caught, wiggles away, hits a super kick, but he didn't connect all the super kick. He connected, I don't know if it was here on the jaw or hit him in the side with the ribs, but he didn't get all the super kick. Breeze then went for another Inseguri as he goes to the top for whatever he was planning. Undisputed Era comes out. They cause a distraction. Breeze kicks Bobby Fish away. Kyle O'Reilly's on the other side, distracting the referee. Strong with the kick to Breeze's face. End of Hard 8. 1, 2, 3. That is it. And Tyler Breeze loses to the Undisputed Era. Or Roderick Strong, I should say, with the help of the Undisputed Era. Tyler Breeze hasn't won a match since he's been back in NXT. And I kind of know what the spoilers are because I looked But I'm not going to reveal anything here. But the Undisputed Era are going to cause chaos. And I love that WWE is integrating this into NXT because it's going to be more of an adult-like presentation. But Tyler Breeze is not going to be fighting this alone. And I'll just leave it at that. Tyler Breeze is going to have help with the Undisputed Era. And it's going to come in the form of someone who you guys know very well. And someone who I'm excited to see come back to the fold. That's all I will say. And I can honestly see where they're going with this. If this is the case, and the Undisputed Era do win all the gold, I can see the Undisputed Era having a nice little 1-2 punch combination being their thorns in their sides. I love it. I absolutely love it, man. Tyler Breeze might be on his way to finding out what it takes via a crime scene, just collecting all the clues for an NXT championship. Or an NXT Tag Team Championship, I should say. I love it. I think it's great. He's not going to be fighting this one alone, folks. He's going to have a partner in crime. That's your review, guys. Thank you so much. I don't really have much else to talk about. Very basic episode. They had to come down from that big steel cage match, and if you're there, that's the type of episode you got. They couldn't really go all guns blazing after that steel cage match, so they gave you a light episode with still some storyline progression. Great episode nonetheless. That breakout tournament is going to be something to watch, man, and I'm loving what Johnny and Adam Cole are doing. Where's Johnny? What is Johnny going to say after all this? It's going to be great, man. Can't wait to see what happens on NXT. No complaining here, folks. Only good, old-fashioned fucking wrestling that makes us happy. It's exactly what I want. Thank you guys so very much, man. Go check out social media at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button. Join the channel if you guys want to. Completely optional. Patreon.com/JD from NY206 as well. Make sure you guys go check out all the other videos you might have missed this week. Off the Script, Fyter Fest review, Raw and SmackDown live on the channel this week. Go check them out. And Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. I'll see you guys back here for Friday. We got Off the Script. I don't know what I'm doing. I might not be doing anything for the 4th, but I will somehow try and get a recording done tomorrow for you guys early Friday. So thank you guys so very much. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you right back here for Off the Script on Friday to begin the weekend. See you then.